Got my Star Labs t-shirt on, got my Riddler cane. I'm going to be talking today about DC Comics. Now, recently on my social media, I've been seeing from quite various groups people saying that, oh, DC is rubbish, oh, DC is not doing well, everything's failing, they're going to shut everything down. And from what I can see, that's garbage. Because from what I can see, DC have actually done some good stuff kind of off the page, kind of off the printed page. They've actually created some rather good shows, some rather good movies, and some rather good content. So I thought today I'd kind of go through some stuff that DC has, I actually think, been doing right, and why some of their stuff that people claim is bad isn't quite as bad as kind of what other people are saying. So to start off, I thought I'd go with one area in which DC is definitely not failing, and that's in animation. Because while Marvel has done some animated stuff over the years, some good animated stuff, such as the 1980s X-Men X-Men cartoon and various cartoons based on the Avengers, then they never quite matches up to DC in terms of animation. I mean, Batman the Animated Series in the 1990s, that was apparently huge, and that's kind of many people's first kind of their first introduction to Batman, and it's not a bad way to be introduced, truly. So, and even nowadays, kind of with DC's kind of animated movies, such as The Flashpoint Paradox, Gotham by Gaslight, Reign of the Supermen, they all are, even if they're not all kind of masterpieces, they all hold up very, very well. And so, when people say, oh, DC is failing, they're only forgetting about the animation. Because that's one area in which DC isn't failing, and they're doing very well. But that's with animation, at least. There are other areas where DC may not do so well, but honestly, they're not doing as bad as you might think. I mean, take their TV, for example. As I've said before, the Arrowverse is one of my favourite pieces of kind of TV, alongside Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Doctor Who. The Arrowverse I absolutely love, but then that doesn't necessarily mean that everything that DC makes for live action TV is always going to be kind of top quality. I mean, take Constantine, for example. While Constantine is a pretty good series to watch through, it evidently didn't do so well and didn't get so many people interested because it was cancelled by NBC after one series. But evidently one thing they did right was the interpretation of John Constantine, played by Matt Ryan. I mean, while he never got another series on NBC, they did transfer Matt Ryan's Constantine into the Arrowverse, having him show up in Arrow and later a big part of Legends of Tomorrow. And even then, Matt Ryan also showed up to voice the character of John Constantine in the animated Justice League Dark movie. So, yeah, evidently, even though the series didn't do well enough to get a second season, evidently they got Matt Ryan as Constantine right. So, when people say, oh, it's failing, well, no, not from that point. But then there are some DC shows that, like Constantine, also are getting cancelled later this year. And unlike Constantine, this lot actually had a good run, those being iZombie and Gotham. Now, it's true, when I watched Gotham through, I didn't kind of like it as much as some of the other DC shows, like iZombie and the Arrowverse, but I could see it had its place, and apparently it's ending after its 5th season, the same as iZombie. But both of them have managed to have 5-season runs, or will have had 5-season runs, and apparently were evidently successful enough if they were able to get to 5 seasons. So they must have had something that people liked, and so when people say, oh, no, everything was rubbish from DC, well, no. I mean, if they managed to get to 5 seasons, there must have been something that people liked. So, yeah, it wasn't all garbage. And then, of course, there's another DC show outside of the Arrowverse that isn't apparently ending, or it isn't to my knowledge, and that's Black Lightning. I mean, I did a review recently on the first season of Black Lightning and kind of what I liked about it, and yeah, I do think it's a good show, and according to kind of what I've seen on the internet, Black Lightning is currently into its 2nd season, and I don't think it's going to be slowing down. I mean, it doesn't appear to be, so I haven't heard anything about them cancelling Black Lightning, so I don't see why it's failing. I don't see it failing. But then, of course, we get to the Arrowverse. Now, the two weak points of the Arrowverse, I personally love every part of it, but the 2 points that I have heard people saying, oh, they're going to cancel at the end of this year, oh, it's not doing well, are Supergirl and Legends of Tomorrow. Now, I personally love these shows. I love them with all my heart. But if they were to end at the end of this year, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I'd be a little sad to see them go, but honestly, if the network were to say they're not doing so well in ratings, so we're going to pull the plug, I'd be sad, but I wouldn't necessarily be surprised. But then that doesn't mean the Arrowverse is ending. Because I can't see The Flash and Arrow ending this year. I mean, The Flash and Arrow have to keep going until at least 2020. Why? Simple reason. Hold on. They already announced Crisis on Infinite Earths. For those not caught up, towards the end of the 28... Well, not towards the end, at the very end of the 2018 crossover Elseworlds, we were given kind of a graphic and shown that in 2019 the next big crossover would be called Crisis on Infinite Earths. Kind of taking the title from the comic from the 80s. And because of this, while the fate of Legends of Tomorrow or Supergirl can maybe left in the balance, we'll have to see, they can't end Arrow and the Flash. I mean, a lot can happen between now and December of 2019. But I can't personally see the CW and now cancelling every part of the Arrowverse immediately after they've said, oh, the next big crossover is going to be Crisis. So, yeah, once Crisis on Infinite Earths is once they've done that big crossover, they might decide that maybe it's time to start trimming. But even then, they would have to complete the seasons of the shows already in progress. The crossover usually comes towards the end of the first half of that year's TV season. So even if Arrow and the Flash, even if it was decided that they would end in the next year, they would still have to complete their seasons, which would mean that at least Arrow and the Flash would be safe until spring of 2020. But even then, Arrow by this point will have had 8 seasons. The Flash will probably be into his 6th. We don't know what Legends of Tomorrow or Supergirl will be doing. They may have been cancelled, they may still be going on. But yeah, I can't see them cancelling 2 of their biggest shows when they've already announced the next big crossover. And then the final part of DC that I ideally want to talk about, and the one that everyone is saying is failing, the DCEU. Now, with these films, it's fair to say that not everyone has been brilliant. I mean, they've had some good ones, such as Wonder Woman and Aquaman last year. I mean, they've had some ones that apparently didn't do so well, like Suicide Squad. I mean, I personally enjoyed Suicide Squad, and I didn't care so much for Man of Steel, but apparently other people did. But even then, I mean, Wonder Woman and Aquaman were both good. Yeah, and people saying, oh, the Justice League is dead, and saying, oh, the president of Warner Bros. Is saying, oh, Justice League is dead. I mean, he might well have said that. I mean, and I have seen articles saying that Will Smith has dropped out of Suicide Squad, which I think would be sad, because I thought he was actually pretty good. But, yeah, I mean, they've still got plans to go ahead with Shazam, and I don't know what other stuff they have planned later down the line. I've heard they've planned stuff like Birds of Prey and a Suicide Squad sequel. But from what I can see, they may not be to the same level as the MCU, but they're still good. I mean, I know this might sound a bit of an opinion from me, but while DC can go up and down, they've still managed to do some good movies. I mean, as I said, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, I have faith for Shazam after watching Aquaman, and so, yeah. Yeah, I admit people have their opinions, and there are people who are just going to not like DC, but then nobody's forcing you to read it, nobody's forcing you to watch it. So can we all just back off DC, because they are not failing? They may be getting weak in certain areas, but that doesn't mean they're failing absolute. So can everybody just calm down? DC is not failing. They're doing as well as they ever had, and they can get better. So there you go. A reason why we all need to back off DC and let them do their thing. Anyway, until next time, see ya.